Bradley Holly does not get going. Everybody has to try and take avoiding maneuvers, someone even taking to the grass. And the front row just had a horrible start as Raymond Day also gets swamped. Boucher is going to go from fourth to first by the first turn.
That is now Ozzie Milwane trying to take a little bit of a look. Oh, what a great move by Michael Broomhead. Caught Andrew Hardman napping, and now they're going to be side by side going into the Curva Grande. Is Fonseca and McKenzie still going at it down into Rent. Fonseca holding it out for now. A little bit of a better run, though, for McKenzie.
Oh, and a bump. He gets into the back of him. Fonseca spins off. And McKenzie, is he going to get third? Because here comes Tavitas, and Tavitas takes third away from both of them.
Indeed, and now Almanar looking for a little bit of a fight back. He's going to poke his nose to the inside. That's a very tricky area to try to get that move done. Move's going to favor back, but Almanar's going to hold it around the outside. He has got it done and dusted. A great move for Jonathan Almanar.
Allowing him to retain that sixth position for now, but once again, a better exit, and this time the over-under worked a treat for Corey Lotfula. He's going to get the inside, and this drag race up to 130R should go in his favor, depending on how brave Doug Bacchignone is. Let's see, and not brave enough is the answer.
You heard that exasperation out of me, Joe. A bad push there, catches it, taps from behind, completely sideways, massive opposite lock, and he keeps it pointed the right way. Great job, Byron McDonald.
This is it. Big draft. Almost middle of the road there for Topi Kortanimi. Up the inside goes Togo Hisada. He has to get on the brakes, though. They're side by side through 130R. This is the battle for the win on the final lap here. Kortanimi stays defensive. Coming into the Casio triangle. Squeezing him.
I think Pi cannot do much here except break his late as he dares, which he tries and keeps an overlap into the left-hander, around the right-hander. He's got the outside. That tends to see better momentum, and it does this time. But now he's on the long way around from multiple corners and just gets fed out to the outside of the track. It is not there for Karthik Pai, and he finally gives up the ghost. Defensive move out of Mark Kalin denies him for now, but he goes a little wide at the apex.
Does indeed. There you see the move from Jacques Boucher. He's going to try to take it out into that little kink now, but he's going to have to go the long way around Cascades. It's not going to work out, but that's going to open up the door to Bradley Holly. There he goes on through up into the podium position.
While the GTOs have seen Leskola return to his usual style of domination, the GTPs have been a wildly close match between Iamaki and Lepisto. Will a more traditional track like Barcelona carry on business as usual, or will this season's chaos bleed into here as well? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 5 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. With over 30 years under its belt now, Barcelona has built up quite a history. Let's head to our track guide to find out more about it. Welcome to Circuit de Barcelona. The home of the Spanish Grand Prix for nearly 30 years, it's easy to forget that this is a relatively recently built track in Europe. It's known for its long, sweeping corners and hosts the highest level of open-wheel and motorcycle racing. Placing an emphasis on a good aerodynamic setup with high downforce cars, it's often overlooked that it offers plenty of overtaking for lower-tier racing as well. In fact, most don't take into account that this adaptable track has 5 different layouts to choose from. These range from the nearly 3-mile-long Grand Prix version to the minuscule 1-mile club circuit. Because of the pit straight being the longest acceleration zone, Elf is the most likely spot for drivers to get it past them. After that, your next hope might be into Lakaja, which, depending on which layout you use, could be a sharpened set of 2 turns or one long hairpin with an opening radius. In the early 2000s, a chicane was added close to the end of the lap, but the old Europe car corner can still be run. The Spanish fans have some gorgeous views from the many hills dotted along the track. And with the international fame this place has built over time, it's no wonder they're almost always full come race day. Well, Adam, it may have a reputation of being a bit of a single file affair when F1, but when it comes to Kamel, I have a feeling that won't be the case.
No, the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya is one of the most challenging tracks to pass at in iRacing, with 13 turns, 2.94 miles or 4.73 kilometers in this historic layout. And the Kamel community will have its best opportunity available at the Spanish GP circuit to try and make track position. The Nissans will be feeling the love from this Formula One inspired track, as their downforce keeps them glued to the track, so long as they avoid any of the decently sized curbs that dot the circuit. Their biggest danger zones will be through Seat, Werth, and Banc Sabadell, as the temptation to cut those corners and clip a curb are very high. The Audis, well, they pretty much hate this track. With 5 180-degree medium and high-speed turns dotting this course, this track is a nightmare in the notoriously understeer-prone GTO. Their best chances to pass are into Elf and Repsol, and maybe a late lunge into Lakaja if the driver ahead makes a mistake. Multiclass here usually isn't that much of an issue with the historic layout, but Werth through Lakaja can cause some consternation if drivers aren't careful. The likely winner today will be the driver that can manage both their tire wear and the traffic most effectively, and I'm looking forward to finding out who that will be, Joe.
Yeah, same here. It's historically in this series been a little bit chaotic, so we'll watch out and see who manages to get through. Is right up at the top of the prototypes and the points currently. It is still very, very close. 6 points between Iamaki and Lepisto. Fairness Grau, as we mentioned last week, very fast, just hasn't always been able to be as consistent. Laust Olsen, the reverse, not always the quickest guy, but usually puts together a good result. And then Ben Laughter, all three of those, third, fourth, and fifth, very tight together here at this stage of the championship. Very different story over in the GTOs, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yuko Leskala has one of the largest leads we've seen in quite a while. 25 points only after the first couple of rounds. Escalante-Niemi, though, has the lowest amount of incidents per corner, so his clean driving is keeping him at the top of the heap there in second position. Ian Haycock's not too far back of Esco. If he has a couple of good races and Esco runs into some trouble, we could see him pull into that second position, with Mark Olay only 1 point behind him. Phil Lake, unfortunately, did not show up for the Nürburgring, so he's 15 points back in the fifth position.
Yeah, an entire wins worth between Letaniemi and Yuko there, as we take a look at the race details now, round 5. So we're getting close to halfway through this thing, and it is a 40-minute event that they're running. So this is their regular format. This is their sprint format that they run most often. Open setups for the cars, so the drivers can try to find speed around here, which might be a bit of a talking point, considering even though you want downforce, if you have that too much downforce in, it'll be hard to pass on that one long straight. No spare car if you get any sort of damage. It could be easy to do trying to lap traffic around here, and then they've got some drive-through penalties and disqualification penalties on hand if they abuse track limits and have too much contact with one another. It is a modern F1 track, so there's definitely plenty of paved runoff to wind up just clipping that, and not just discounting your lap here in qualifying, but racking up too many incident points when we get to the race. But we're waiting for the first lap times on the board as we watch Iamaki come down into Lakaja now. Just send it in deep, squaring off the exit. Couple more corners to go. Adam, hopefully he kept it within the track boundaries, and he'll have one on the board.
Absolutely. Really important to get these qualifying times in early before the track gets too rubbered up and gets a little bit too hot for these drivers. So let's see whether or not we can get that time in as he exits the final corner. Very good to be clean, stay on that curb, not too far into the green, crosses the line and does set a time. It's going to be 1:25.893. That's the barometer for everyone to beat.
Yep, still waiting for our GTOs to put one down. Ben Laughter was briefly on the front row of a train grade. Going to manage to take that away. Now Sintez Galindo gets up there. This looks to be Jungbluth coming across the line. 26.232 for him. Wow, good day for Jungbluth. He goes up to second now.
Yeah, great run for Jungbluth to get up there, and Ian Haycock's just put in the first time for the GTOs, 142.623. Nathan Cameron's gonna put in a time into third position, and Mika Tupola in the GTO once again is going to put a time into second position. But Yuko Leskala absolutely stomps the field, 1.3 seconds back to Ian Haycox.
Whew, yeah, Haycox has got a ways to go to make up to that, but we're still waiting on guys like Vili Rolla to set a time, who is usually pretty quick here in the GTOs. Watching one of our prototypes down into Lakaja, the 12, still trying to set a time. Nope, that's Trangrade. Actually, he has already put one on the board, so this is his second time around. Rolla goes up to second place, much closer to Leskala, within 0.2 of a second. So Ove around New Holland. He's got half a second to get up to Ardo Iamaki. Is there that much in it on the second lap around? 26-1, not quite, but that will improve his spot up to third.
Absolutely, and Ardo Iamaki, once again, still in that good position. This is Laust Olsen, who is currently in second, only 57 1/1000ths behind Ardo. So if he can improve on his second lap, it looks like he's on pace to, Fabian Jungbluth jumps up to the top of the spot.
What is he eating this morning? Wow. And Iamaki was not able to improve on his second lap, so he doesn't see himself get a chance to try and break that pole time. But what about Lepisto? Lepisto has his first lap deleted. I'll need to check my stats. Is this the first pole that we'll have seen Jungbluth ever grab if he actually winds up with it?
I think we've seen him grab a couple more in seasons past, but this is the first time in a long time, and he doesn't get it. Laust Olsen does go faster and jumps up to the pole position, only by about 1/100th of a second.
This is a bit of a strange one, and this is not to put down guys like Olsen and Jungbluth. They're just not typically your one-lap wonders who find themselves at the top spot.
But Joe, Laust Olsen has been really improving his qualifyings in recent seasons, so fantastic work from him. We're going to get to see more of him as he's one of our drivers we're going to be on board with today, but great work from Laust. Now he needs to work on that race pace and getting through the traffic. Traffic management's so important right now. Angie Lepisto still has not set a time, though. He's only one of 2 GTPs to do so. Christian Arribas is the other driver, and he oftentimes doesn't set a time, but Lepisto is a little bit of a surprise. Let's see whether or not he can improve.
So he's coming up through Banque Sabadell now. Just 2 more to go through Europe car, and then the very swift right-hander of New Holland, as he tries to keep as much speed through as he can, but keep it within the track limits. He crosses the line, and it's a 26-2. That's not going to be pole. That only puts him into 6th position. This is a very strange day for our 2 championship contenders, and will this see guys like Olsen actually insert themselves into the equation for the rest of the season?
Creature crosses the line, does not improve, so 10th is going to be the best that he can do. Yuko Leskala back out onto track. I'm a little curious as to what he's doing out there, considering he's already completed. No, he's on his second lap. So he came out of the pits, though, so he's just having practice, I suppose.
Yeah, this one won't count anyways, and it's all he needed. He still is a quarter of a second ahead of Vili Rolla. Looks like Jay Voss is going to try and set a time, but he's not got enough time, it looks like. So means our grid is actually set. And looks like round 5's ready to go. And it is going to be Laust Olsen who puts it on pole position with Fabian Jungbluth next to him. Ardo Iamaki having to start from row 2. Can he try and barge his way past them to take another victory? Ove Trangarade will start from 4th, as it is Heitor Sintes Galindo in 5th. Lepisto, who, even though he's second in the championship, still hasn't won a race this season. He'll start from 6th. It's Ben Laughter in P7, followed by Doug Cloud in 8th. Robert Plumley, 9th place for him, followed by Martin Krajcik, rounding out our first slide. Gianluca Gabbiani will be in 11th. Marty Novak in 12th, and David Macayo in 13th. After that, you've got Marc-Jean Girard in 14th, Cam Porter 15th, and Daniel Stimmen in 16th, and it's Mike Reuter starting P17, and as you mentioned, Erebus is the last one on our 18-car GTP field who has not set a time.
Then we got Yuko Leskola on pole for the GTOs with Villirola lining up outside of him, only 2/10 off of his pole time. Then we have Escaleta-Niemi riding up on row 2 with Devin Donaghy lining up next to him. 5th goes to Ian Haycox with Javier Del Olmo in 6th. Marty Ole is going to line up in the 7th position with Hideki Koivisto lining up in 8th. Then we have Franco Scurry in the 9th spot with Jamie Hamill-Smith in 10th position. Then we have on the next row is going to be Mika Tupola in row 6 with Mark Ole in alongside him. Then we have Nathan Cameron lining up in 13th position with Jesus Amundure lining up in 14th. Oren Laskin's going to be 15th. Andre Schumacher 16th, first driver not to set a qualifying time, with Harry Weir, Jay Voss, and Miguel Perez Adessa rounding out your 19-car GTO field and your 37-car field for today.
Indeed, and right now it's about 75 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface, so it is still relatively cool, 24 Celsius, with a tiny bit of wind that is negligible, at least for these cars. And just waiting for them to take off behind the pace car, and then we will get rolling.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting race, especially because I think, like I said in the track description, it's all about tire life for these drivers today. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see who can survive this race with tire life. I know that Laus Olsen isn't the best at hanging on to his tires. Yuko Leskola isn't necessarily the best either. Villirola has a little bit more consistency when it comes to that in the GTOs, and Jungbluth has a little bit more consistency when that comes to that in the GTPs. So keep your eyes on outside pole for both classes, and we'll see whether or not those guys end up taking those positions over the last couple laps.
All right, so as they come around just a few corners, thankfully not doing a full pace lap around here. Let's see who's got the best speed around this place, known for F1 testing, where they try to shake down those top-end open wheelers, but it's a little bit more old school today with Kamel GT arriving. And let's see whether or not Laus Olsen can carry this from pole to victory as well. Coming to the line, he's holding them quite a bit, waiting for the green flag. And he's on it now. Green flag is out, and he gets a pretty decent jump over Jungbluth, immediately pulls off to the left-hand side of the track. Iamaki maybe thinking about trying to get into that second place as well, as Trangerade watches from behind. They're going 2 by 2 back behind them, and it looks like Jungbluth will be able to fend off our championship leader.
Very tight in the GTPs, the GTOs. Yuko Leskola gets a good start over Villirola. Escaleta-Niemi tried to make a pass on roll it down the front straight, couldn't quite do so. There's a parked GTP. That's Mike Reuter as well as Daniel Stimmons, who got together as they went through the wide parabolic there. So Yuko Leskola still leading the GTOs as they come across the line.
Roll a little bit back. Saw at least Ian Haycox maybe poke his nose out of it and try and make a move, but has to stay put back where he sits. Now as they start to weave their way into the back half of the course, our prototypes find themselves losing a bit of touch with Laus Olsen already.
Yeah, Laus Olsen doing a good job of pulling through. He's got the benefit of that clean air ahead of him. Fabian Jungbluth just dropping off the back a little bit. You're going to see those gaps stay pretty wide, but in the back, David Moncayo just made a huge move up the inside of Repsol there. Such a tight maneuver there. He's still side by side with Martin Krajcik and actually gets a little bit loose coming into this wide 180-degree turn. Now they go back through the historic layout. They're going to take away that chicane and come back onto the front straightaway.
One lap done already, and the
Escaleta-Niemi's had a problem, Joe.
Whoa, so second place in the points suddenly finds himself down the order as we get one of our GTPs trying to pick his way through. So
yeah. Esco's pushed off by Devin Donaghy, unfortunately.
Oh, that is sad to see. And Mike Reuter was trying to not interrupt things, but was unsuccessful in that. So Letanemi down to 12th. Let's take a look at the replay. 3 wide. And just clips the right rear.
Absolutely. Pushes him wide. Now, fortunately, Esco's not going to pick up too much damage from that, but it does drop him back into the field. He's all the way back in 12th position now. He lost a couple of spots actually from battling for that 3rd position before he even went into that corner. So here we see Mike Reuter once again splitting up our 2 leaders, Yuko and Vili. Rolla trying to follow Reuter through as Reuter locks up the right front tire as they come down the hill once again, and now into such a challenging sector for every vehicle that drives it, but especially these GTPs and GTOs today.
So Reuter's through and lets them alone. So finally, Leskala and Rolla can fight amongst one another. So the 3, you can see just kind of stalking Yuko for the time being. Vili, long-time runner, but it's been a bit since we've seen him regularly. It looks like he is back for good now, as he's been here for most of this season. They've put themselves at quite a distance from Donaghy back there in 3rd. They do have one more of our prototypes approaching. You can see the red, white, and black car of Stimon just behind them.
Absolutely, Stimon going to try and make his way through as they cut through the historic layout once again. He's going to have a lot of speed carrying on to the front straightaway. That's going to actually be a little bit of an issue. He's going to read Vili Rolla's washout pretty well and is able to make it by both of them on the front straightaway, not affecting that battle. I think Vili's a little bit too far back to try and make a pass on Yuko this time around. You can see the speed difference, how it actually goes away at the end of the straightaway for the GTPs because the downforce is so high on those machines. The power of the GTO really starts to overpower that high downforce of the GTP towards the end of that straightaway.
And who's really keeping Yuko honest here. As we're watching this, I'm keeping half an eye on Jungluth and Iamaki because starting to notice a bit of a train back up there. So that could erupt at any moment. That includes also Lepisto, Sintez Galindo, and Trangrade getting caught up down into Seat and
Ooh.
through the
Here comes
left-hander.
Yuko. Yeah, Yuko gets a little bit wide there through the corner, got a little bit of the rear loose. So that actually gives Vili Rolla an opportunity to look up the inside. He couldn't take it that time around, but Yuko's really struggling with rear grip right now. Vili Rolla and I have an opportunity if he can carry speed through this corner.
Does he dare try and attack? It might be more difficult to do so later on when the tires are worn out and they've got traffic coming through, as here comes one of our drivers in. But we got to go back to the battle for the lead because side by side coming into Lakaja, Leskala has to play defense, but he's now got the outside coming into Bonk Sabadell. He wants to cut across, can't quite totally do that, leaves the space open for Vili Rolla, and Vili cannot complete the pass.
It was a good try to try it on the outside of the corner for Vili because he knows that Yuko's struggling with rear end grip. Great opportunity to give that a shot, but couldn't quite get it done. Falling off the back just a little bit, but he should have a good draft down this front straightaway. He should have another opportunity into one. Is Yuko going to give him the inside? It's a harder line to take. Here comes Vili. Is he going to try and late break Yuko?
He's there, and he's almost fully side by side. He gets a nose ahead, leaves space at the second apex. It carries on down up into Renault. He's got the inside. You'd think that'd be the way to go, but the corner just opens up as they start to accelerate away. And somehow Yuko Leskala makes this carry on down into Repsol and still side by side. For the fourth turn in a row, neither driver willing to give way. Yuko Leskala now has the advantage coming into Seat as they plunge down the hill through here. Amazingly, they are still side by side. Vert, I almost think they've got to give this one up at this point, and indeed, Vili Rolla finally gives way.
Wow, the battle of the Finns at the front of the GTO field. What a fantastic battle this has been. I think Yuko's going to hang on to it on this straightaway, but my goodness, what a battle Vili Rolla gave Yuko for about 3/4 of a lap there, from the final bit of the last lap to up until the middle of lap 4. Such a great battle for these drivers. Vili Rolla still trying to put pressure on. We've got a slow car here of Miguel Perez Adessa who's trying to push forward. So we've also had a spin in the GTPs. Mike Reuter's gone around, as well as the number 28 machine.
Oof, well, it's been a bad day for Reuter from pretty much the get-go. So as Miguel lets them both by, thankfully, and even with all that side-by-side battling, look at the gap between these two and those behind. The next one down as somebody is off in the background. That's Marco Lay.
Yeah, Marco Lay's had a problem, and he's up pretty high in the points. This is going to cause a problem for the drivers coming up behind him. He can't get the thing into gear anymore.
Ooh, stuck in neutral. Come on, there it goes. Now it's on its way just as the prototypes blast by. There's Laust Olsen still leading the way by 2 seconds over Fabian Jungbluth. Will this checkup cause an opportunity for some of them in that train behind Jungbluth? No, not quite. Yamaki wasn't close enough. Lepisto can't challenge his rival either. Here we see the perspective and the onboard cam of Laust.
And Laust Olsen cutting through the GTO traffic, doing the best that he can to stay out of trouble, taking the most conservative lines he possibly can. Nice little late dive down to the inside there. Fantastic job right there to make it through. Now he's going to catch up to a battle between Franco Scurry and Marty Ollie, who are battling for 7th position in the GTOs. They've also got Jamie Hamill-Smith and Andre Schumacher tucked in behind them, and they should be coming through up towards the next couple of corners here. So there's the battle. You can see just how chaotic it is for the GTOs.
Oof, yeah, this disrupts things greatly for them. As, the 33 going to try and go side by side. Schumacher might not have the highest I rating out here, but he can certainly mix it up with some of the best of them here in the GTOs. Hamill-Smith not going to allow him through, but Letaniemi trying to recover his way back forward is watching both of them.
And here comes Laust Olsen cutting up the inside. There you see the blue and yellow and green machine as he's going to try and make it past as many of these GTOs as he possibly can on this straight line, flashing his lights all the way to make sure people see him coming. There you see the GTOs fanning out behind him, trying to take over that draft.
Martioli off to the left-hand side, and it looks like Hamill-Smith is through. Schumacher also manages to overtake. Esko Letaniemi now going to move up a position, and wow, having to go all the way around 3 wide. Fabian Jungbluth in 2nd place just couldn't find an opening, had to make one. Dives down to the inside. Oh, contact!
Look at this, all the GTOs and GTPs tucked in under a blanket right now. That's the top 5 of the GTPs that are trying to cut their way through this battle in the GTOs for the top 10. Nobody wants to give way right now.
Hamill-Smith and Schumacher rudely elbowed out of the way by the GTP leaders trying to find some space.
Oh no! Oh, thank goodness for the rally heritage of the GTO. What a save! Can he keep it out of everybody? Yes, he can!
Bit of an alternate line, but unfortunately it sends him down to 11th. So Schumacher lacking speed as he tries to kick off all the gravel and gunk that he picked up through that gravel trap as ahead of him. Man, what a battle it has been amongst those GTPs. In fact, there was a change of position between Lepisto and Iamaki, but Iamaki just got it back.
And here they come back onto the front straightaway as they're trying to navigate their way through these GTOs once again. Oh, it's so close between Aitor, and he gets into the back of him.
Oh, and it's a big hit. Looks like Del Olmo also going to make bid contact on this one. Both of them have got to have day over, sent flying through the air. Somebody else goes off in the background.
That's a gigantic incident. Who's that off in the background? That's Javier Del Olmo and Ian Haycox.
Andre Schumacher, actually.
Ian Haycox has major engine damage, Joe, as well.
And Andre Schumacher was also off back there, so I'm not sure if these are related, and Ian has to park it, unfortunately, giving us a very convenient overhead view of that green machine. Well then, this is shaking things up significantly there, and it looks like the 27, what's happened with him? This is Doug Cloud.
So here's the incident that we just saw. You can see they just got tucked in together right there. A little bit too close right there for Aitor Sintes Galindo rather. And my goodness, it just caused a big incident. And Andre Schumacher had his own moment as that was all going on. Here's another look at it as we come through the corner. Yeah, there you can see the contact. It's just so slight, but enough to upset the rear end of that GTP and send him around.
Ian, an innocent victim in this one. And there you see Schumacher just sliding off. He just... Oh, yeah, I think he clipped the curb on the outside. Oh, and the blinking probably didn't help. He may have gotten a little bit punted, too, by the GTP trying to pick his way past. Okay, let's calm down a bit here, boys. Let's try and get some laps in.
I'm sorry, Joe. We can't calm down. Jamie Hamill-Smith just got sent around.
Oh, no. He was having a good day as well up until this point. And he had contact with Esko Letiniemi, who's probably a little bit anxious to try and make overtakes. Maybe too anxious for that one.
Yeah, so unfortunately for him, that's going to be a big day. Just, man, Esko's just really struggling right now. Got sent off from the P3 and now trying to recover and gets into one of his competitors. It's not a good day for Esko Letiniemi. I guess commentators cursed him by saying he had the least amount of incidents per corner in the whole series, but here he is struggling again.
You got to think that if he's not careful, he gets close to making more contact. That was Christian Arribas trying to go through.
Wait. Sorry, we need a replay of Vili Rolla. About 15-20 seconds ago, he got sent around by Gianluca Gabbiani.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's put big distance between himself and the leader.
Here it is.
This was a bit of ghost contact, though.
Just off the nose, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, so 6 seconds between himself and Leskala because of that. Good news for him, Don. He's still 3 seconds behind. That tells you the pace that those two have been running, even with that big of an incident. He's not really under threat at the moment. Well, Aitor Sintez Galindo has rocked up to the back of Ardo Iamaki. And while Lepisto might not be here, I'm sure Ardo would like the best finish he can get possible. This is the battle for third.
Absolutely. And Ardo's been trying to pull away from Aitor ever since they cut through the traffic for the first time. They don't have traffic again for another half a lap for these guys. So it's going to be probably in 2 laps time will they catch the traffic again. But Ardo's pushing as hard as he can. He's afraid of Aitor right now, I think. I think he's a little stuck in his mirrors.
It looks to me, because usually we're used to seeing him really pulling away from everybody. So I don't know what's going on, if the setup just doesn't like this track or if he's feeling off kilter. But he's not been able to run down the leaders. He's now under threat from even falling outside of the podium. And even his own main rival has already wrecked out today. So the 4 out through Bonk Sabadell with half a second between himself and Sintez Galindo. Let's see what the lap times look like as they cross this time. As they come upon traffic as well. This is Edesa. Just in front of them, they have to dodge around Iamaki with a 28.3 and Sintez Galindo a 28.2. In fact, he's got a good slipstream coming down the front stretch, defending to the inside. Iamaki does not look quick in a straight line and going clear around the outside, maybe? No, not quite, but Sintez Galindo almost did it.
Wow, so close for these guys. Can Sintez Galindo come back up the inside? Ardo is going to try and cover it off. Aitor's going to go for it. He's going to stick his nose out. And look at this. Ardo takes it too deep into the corner, opens the door for Aitor Sintez Galindo, but Galindo spins up the rear tires and saves it. But oh my goodness, that was almost disaster.
Wow, that's an opportunity slipping through his fingers. Not many chances you can get to attack Ardo Iamaki. And he's going to have to regain about a second and a half to really get back to where he was. Thankfully, as you said, didn't hit the wall, but the 18 looks like Gabbiani having major issues coming down into Lakaja.
Yeah, and we've seen the, oh my goodness.
And contact.
What?
That's Jean Girard.
But why?
So I'm not entirely sure. And excuse me, that was into Seat that happened.
Yeah, Marc-Jean Girard just absolutely sent it into Seat.
Thought he saw a chance to try and make up a spot, and, well, got a little too overeager there.
Well,
looks like they're both able to keep rolling. Yeah, he did get the spot. I'll give him that.
I guess it worked. I don't think that's what iRacing hopes you do, but here's Gianluca's first moment. And this is a very easy one to fall afoul of in a rear downforce machine. And then he's trying to get it going again. And then here comes Mark, absolutely like a missile up the inside.
So I will give him that he was probably a bit offline. So that may have caused him a little bit of a distraction. But regardless, sloppy, no doubt. In the meantime, battle between Trangrade and Cloud here for 6th place.
Absolutely. Ove Trangrade and Doug Cloud battling it out for 6th in the GTPs. All these midfield battles today are absolutely fire for the Kamel series. I mean, this is absolutely the reason why I love this series. It's so complex, so diverse, so exciting. Every single moment, you cannot rest. There's no way that you could possibly take a break in this series, because as soon as you're out of traffic, then you have to worry about the guy behind you. And so here's what we're seeing right now with Trangrade starting to pull away from Doug Cloud, but here comes Kraytrick to give Cloud some company.
Yeah, this is not over. About to become a 3-car fight. And remember, we still have more than half the race left to go. So there's plenty of action to be had. Well, Trangrade's starting to pull away. Cloud now has his mirrors full of Martin Kraytrick as the 15 just sits back there behind the blue, white, and gold of Douglas Cloud onto the main straight. Don't think he's quite close enough, but let's see if either of them maybe has better top speed. Gonna have to overtake Amundere, and one is gonna get by his two, just barely.
Yeah, Jesus was giving Doug Cloud a nice draft there all the way down the front straightaway, so that's what gave a good opportunity there for Doug to start to pull away.
Indeed.
Oh, we've had a moment for Franco Scurry.
He goes off at Vert. Looks like he's going to be able to find his way back on, but he lost his spark to Marioli and Esko Letaniemi.
It was a misshift for Franco Scurry, Joe.
Oof. Not the first time, not the last time. Oh, is another spin here. What is happening in Vert? This is
Gary Veer.
He goes off with a GTP having to go around the outside. Looks like maybe contact with Marco Lay.
Yes, it was.
Causing poor Aitor Sintes Galindo to have to pull off to the gravel and let Ben Laughter go through.
Speaking of Ben Laughter and Aitor Sintes Galindo, they're side by side right now. We're back to live pictures as they split the Audi of Marc Olay, and here comes Ove Trangrade to try and join this battle as well. 4th position in the GTPs. Oh my goodness, they're going to try and cut their way around Mika Tupla and Oren Laskin. Oh my gosh, they're still going. Here comes a good opportunity for Ben Laughter down the straightaway.
He's got the slipstream. Look at that knowledge they all had. Knew exactly where the GTO was going to place himself. Peeking to the inside. Ben Laughter wants the spot. He's deeper on the brakes, and even though he gets some overlap, it does not last.
Oh my goodness, I love this series. Here they go side by side as they go through the long sweeping right-hander. Oh my goodness, they're still side by side as they start to break onto the braking. Can Ben Laughter hold on to that position? Can he hold on the inside that's been so slick for the other drivers? The answer is yes.
It's not done yet. Into Seat. He wants to turn in, but there's a car there. Just taking the apex away. Sintes Galindo carries it on, watching from the popcorn position. Trangrade has no place to go. Down into the bowl and into Vert. Oh, better acceleration. And Ben Laughter has it done. Here comes Ove Trangrade, knowing now is his time to pounce. He manages to get alongside Sintes Galindo. Aitor says, no, you don't, and fights back.
Sun's starting to come out on the track here as Aitor was able to put the power down off the corner in a way that Ove could not on the inside, and he's able to retain that position. My goodness, Joe, the battles are so fantastic today.
Great stuff here. This is all for 4th, 5th, and 6th that we've been witnessing. Laughter making excellent work out of the circumstances there as he comes across just after the halfway point officially gets crossed here. This is all happening behind Laust Olsen, who continues to cruise up on a Saturday drive with about 6.5 seconds to Fabian Jungluth.
My goodness, Joe, races like this make you love this series. The knowledge that the GTPs are showing, they're also not really interrupting the GTO battles all that much. I mean, when we saw them cut through like that, as we're watching Laust Olsen cut his way around our leader, I believe. No, that was Vili Rolla, rather. But here we come back to another battle in the GTPs. This is between Cam Porter and Marty Novak for the 10th position. But the knowledge of all these drivers to cut through this traffic is so amazing.
Yeah, I really love what I'm seeing out there right now. And yeah, Cam Porter easily managing to get that on the front stretch. We have lost a few. Moncayo is out of the race. Schumacher. Ian Haycox has been taking repairs from that blown engine. I'm not sure that we'll see him back in time. Antti Lapisto, one of the biggest names, is out. And Jay Voss has been in for about 8 minutes. Looks like Del Olmo just recently headed in. Not sure if he'll be able to get that car back onto the circuit. Here is the number 6 of Laust Olsen. And I'm pretty sure we've had at least 1 or 2 wins from him in our coverage of this series. I'll have to double check the stats, but this has been a minute since we've seen him on the top spot. And I have to say, so far, it's been a dominant performance. He has shown incredible pace, incredible skill through the traffic today, and just seems unfazed.
Yeah, what I can't believe, Joe, is that we're only about halfway through this thing. We still got 17 minutes to go as we see another battle cracking off. This is
Sintez Galindo. He managed to get by Ben Laughter into the first turn. Just slipstreamed on by, finished it up under braking, and the 9 is up to 4th. This is still about 5 seconds back from Ardo Iamaki, so they're not completely out of range, but he's really going to have to start cutting away at it now.
Absolutely. Another battle that's going on while we're watching this one happen is for 5th position in the GTOs between Esko Lektaniemi and Hideki Koivisto and Marty Ali, as they're all trying to tuck their way through the sector. We see them almost 3 wide as they dive in there. Esko trying to make the move there on Marty, but can't get the power down off the corner. Is Marty going to try and tuck, Hideki rather, is he going to try and tuck it up the inside? The answer is no. They've got Franco Scurry, Cam Porter and Marty Novak, that battle tucked in behind them as well.
And Cam Porter's been waiting patiently, but he can't wait anymore, and he almost makes contact with Koivisto. Just slices himself into the opening. Somebody putting up a lot of smoke, trying to figure out what's going on. Looking down to the inside, can't quite get through, and behind him, Novak thought about trying to make a pass, but narrowly avoided contact himself. Oh, and that time it was between Porter and Letaniemi.
Yeah, and Porter was just trying to go to the racing line there to take the inside and cuts off the nose of Porter a little bit. That's a slow driver up there. That's Miguel Perez Adessa, who's just pulled over the side of the road. He's going to block up Hideki Koivisto and Marty Ali a little bit as they tuck through there as well.
Yeah, I think it was a touch of the grass from Miguel, and he locked up the brakes. That's all the smoke that we saw. He's since taken it into pit lane. What a fight this has been for the spot just within the top 10. Cam Porter and Marty Novak as he takes that 24 car through Renault one more time. He gets himself a tiny bit of breathing space compared to before over the 22.
We just had a moment between Oren Laskin and Mika Tupola for the 10th position. Oren's had some issues this lap as well. He's gone down a couple positions. He might have some damage.
Yeah, seems a little bit off the pace there. And he's just blinking on my screen too. I wonder if maybe he's just not fighting anything too hard. Oh, and a little bit more traffic once again. Just catching out Porter. But he once again manages to get by before Marty Novak can really truly take advantage of it.
It's also really important to note that the gap between Yuko Lisko and Vili Rolla, which was at 5 seconds, is now at 2.5. So Vili's starting to cut into that lead of Yuko in the last closing moments of this race. If he can get there, the question is, can he get by? And I'm not sure whether the answer is yes.
Yeah, it's one thing to get there. It's another thing to pass. And there you can see the gap between them is pretty decently wide. So once he does try and catch up, we expect this to be the main place to try and make an overtake unless traffic catches out Yuko. Looking a little bit farther back there for a moment. Oh, as Yuko allows another car lapping to go by. That's Robert Plumley coming over from the Lotus 49s and plying his trade here on a little bit more modern machinery.
Here's the battle between Hideki Koivisto and Marty Ali once again as they're trying to chase down Esko Lektaniemi. He just got by. Oh, Hideki takes it too deep into the corner, but Marty Ali can't do anything with it, unfortunately. He was a little bit conservative into turn 1, and Hideki's all over the road right now trying to recover from that late braking lockup there. Can't quite get by Ken Marty Ali, so he's going to have to stay behind.
This is basically our closest fight right now in the GTO class. Coming down through Repsol, and then once again the track dipping away here. I love calling a race or being on a broadcast recently with Michael W. Johnson, one of our commentators, who referred to this area as the bowl, and he's someone who's actually driven here So I do like that. I'll take that as a canonical. That's a corner name now. But coming up through Campsa and dealing with the understeer of these cars, Koivisto just barely holding off that 21.
Yeah, absolutely. Hideki, man, the front right brakes for these GTOs are starting to absolutely go away for these drivers. You could see the lockup starting to happen. That was from Escaleta and Niemi up ahead of them. And Hideki Koivisto really having a hard time getting the car to turn into the corner, and having raced this track before in the GTOs, I can tell you that you really do start to deal with front tire wear a lot. You can see just how wide Hideki Koivisto was going there. As they come back onto the front straight one more time, Marty Ollie misses a little bit of a shift there. It's going to lose him an opportunity to try and pass Hideki on the first corner.
Still covers him off a little bit, just trying to make sure and dissuade him from making any risky moves here. And down into Elf once again. I've been watching both this and Laughter and Sintez Galindo, who are still vying for 4th place in the GTPs. That's a little bit farther apart, but we're going to glance over here, and there is Laughter in the mint green and white, and then the white, blue, and orange Aitor Sintez Galindo coming upon some more traffic. Nitun Cameron going to stay off the left-hand side. Yeah, this is way too far back for Ben to do much except try and overtake the GTO. Hope for a better opportunity with more traffic in front of them, which certainly is holding them up as the 17. Now back to Hideki Koivisto. They're going to be approached by those two pretty soon.
A little bit of a misshift there for Hideki. Came into the slot a little slow there. Can Marty Ollie pounce on this? He's got a great run this time, but he also struggles to shift into 4th gear. So it's a struggle for both of these drivers right now on their gearing. Escaleta Navy locks up the brakes again, and Hideki Koivisto almost goes wide again. So lots of struggles for these Audis with the traction right now. And speaking of struggles, Vili Rolla has closed the gap down to 1.8 seconds to Yuka Leskala in the lead of the GTOs.
Ooh, the plot thickens. He's got 10 minutes left to get that last 2 seconds down to 0 and actually pass. But here we go onto the front stretch one more time. Marty Ollie trying to pull that slipstream on his main rival. Little bit of a weave once again. Not sure if that's blocking or if that's him trying to pull a draft off the GTP going
Doug
past.
Cloud's had an issue. This was with a GTO. Doug Cloud and Oren Laskin got together coming around Repsol.
Yeah, Laskin tried to take to the racing line, and I don't blame him on this because it didn't seem like Doug Cloud really had good presentation if we want to take a look at this one. You're talking about good passing. I think this is an example of not as good of passing.
Yeah, the GTO looked slow, but he's got to woe down for that corner, especially with the front tire where it's gone away as much as it has. And GTP was just sending it deep into the corner, trying to get by, and was able to get it done. But Ben Laughter's had an issue, Joe.
Oh yeah, he's been on the radio and also been off course. And looks like Miguel Edesa was trying to get out of the way, and in the process got more in the way than anything.
Yeah. This is one of those where you just want to stay on your racing line. Be predictable. If you become a moving chicane, you'll get hit.
Last lap, fastest lap of the race for Ruola, as there you can see the contact on the replay between Laughter and Miguel. Sent him off. Now, he didn't hit anything.
That sends Laughter to the pits, Joe.
It must have been the initial contact between the cars that damaged him, because he didn't touch the wall. And he indeed, yeah, has the must get car repaired flag. So I was about to say, Leskala and Rolla have closed in once again, both of them setting their personal best, but 2/10 faster for the number 3, and that has been a bit of a trend lately, as you can see. Only lap that was slower for Vili was lap 15 there, about 1/10 and a half. Everything else is more than made up for that.
Absolutely, and they've got some clear track behind them too, as Marc Jean-Gerard gets by, That might hold up Yuko a little bit into this braking zone, which would give Villy Rolla a good opportunity. Yeah, it does. So this is going to close up Villy to the tune of about 2/10 is my guess, and there the 2/10 gone away. But Villy Rolla are struggling a little bit on corner exit at the moment, whereas Yuko's struggling through the center of the corner.
Well, as cold as he can be in tense situations, this is certainly going to be one worth bringing that out. So will we see Villy Vanilli Ice Cream manage to get himself the win in the last laps of this race? Back to the 24, Cam Porter, who has been just inseparable from Marty Novak, now has to find space and just about finds it, getting past Marco Lay, also in a fight with Ian Haycox. No, excuse me, Haycox is laps down, so that's not for position. But there was almost no room at the end for that GTP to squeeze in there, and somehow it worked.
Yeah, first is one of the first feeling corners in the whole entire iRacing service. As you can see, Jamie Himmel-Smith is deciding, okay, Marty, I'm not even going to try and challenge you for the apex there. I'm just going to go wide here, give Marty the apex, and Marty's been trying to close up to Cam Porter for a couple laps.
Round once again to start lap 23, these two, with only 6 minutes left to go on the clock, and it looks like Porter has finally got Novak at least at arm's length, but the traffic causes that to fluctuate corner by corner at times, so has to keep his wits about him. Meanwhile, coming back to Koivisto once again, as Marty Ollie in his mirror sees Martin Krajcik, but is trying to keep on the racing line to chase down Koivisto. They'll get separated. And just temporarily, Martin Krajcik waiting patiently to find another opening. There he goes through into Campsa. Does that alternate the line for Koivisto? No, he's able to get it to the apex.
No, it was clean for Koivisto. You can see Koivisto move over to the right side and try and take away the draft from Marty Ollie down the back straightaway. Great job to do so. Puts Doug Cloud a little bit offline, but Doug is able to sneak his way back online. But Hideki Koivisto too deep onto the brakes again, and he goes wide once again. Marty Ollie with a great opportunity. He just needs to focus on corner exits now, making sure to get that shifting down so you can have a good opportunity to pounce at Koivisto, who's really struggling with front end grip.
Ooh, he's very close now onto the front stretch. This is going to be the best slipstream he's had. He just dips his wheels into the gravel on the exit. That may have slowed him down the tiniest bit, but it was too much. He is not gaining as much as he needs. Does he chuck it in down into Elf? He's going to try. He hopes to get his nose down to the apex, and he does, but the overlap is not there.
And now they've got Robert Plumley looking up their rear pipes. Plumley's going to go around the outside. This means that Marty Ollie has to tuck in behind Koivisto. He can't put his power down to try and get around the outside, so he has to stay in line. Here comes Daniel Stisman, who goes by as well. Man, it's so close between these two drivers.
This is one of the best fights we've got right now. I've been keeping an eye on Roland Lesko, unfortunately.
No.
Wow, ambitious down to the inside, locking up the front left as somehow Koivisto keeps him back there. He's going to overheat the tires if he keeps doing that, though, and that will mean an easier pass for Ollie.
Such tough stuff between all of these drivers right now, for sure. It's so close between them, Marty Ollie and Hideki Koivisto, as they're trying to fight this out. Ollie's getting impatient, Joe.
It looks like it. And man, that was impressive the way he squeezed him down. Both held their line. Sometimes that doesn't work well, as the driver does not know he's being squeezed if he's on a single monitor looking out the back of Koivisto at Marty Ollie, and just absolutely all over that rear wing. Oh, Cam Porter made some contact. Oh no, and that time it was Novak. Novak absolutely punting Koivisto. Ollie takes it with ease. He is up to fifth. That is a disappointing end to what was such a stunning fight.
Another fight that's been building has been that battle for third between Ardo Iamaki and Heitor Sentes Galindo. They're tucked in behind Jesus Amundre right now, who's in 13th position in the GTOs. And he takes away Heitor Sentes Galindo's line a little bit there, so that's going to mean he's going to be a little bit further back than he wants to be heading into this braking zone. But it looks like Ardo Iamaki's a little low on straight line speed, Joe.
Yeah, and I noticed that a little bit earlier too. I kind of wonder if he's got more wing cranked in, or maybe he clattered over a curb, because I'm not seeing anything on top of the car that looks damaged, but maybe the underside costing him a mile an hour or two down the main straight. Let's see. Ooh, this is very close for Sintez Galindo. No, but he doesn't get the run.
Yeah, Galindo a little bit tight, tucked in behind Iamaki, but there you can see that tightness ends up being straight line speed for him. Is he going to send it up the inside of one? Yes, he is.
And yet, because of all that downforce, it looks like Iamaki able to break later. A stalemate between this pair. Iamaki wanting as many points as he can get with his main rival, claiming a DNF here today. 2 minutes left to go.
Very, very close between these two drivers. Galindo trying to look up the outside, can't get it done, gets a little bit two of his tires onto the curb. That causes a problem. Oh, Iamaki locks up the left sides and goes wide. Here comes an opportunity for Aitor Sintez Galindo. He's up the inside now as they head towards first. They're going to be tucked in behind Oren Laskin. This is the worst time to catch a GTO. How is this going to benefit which driver?
Looks like he finds a space and unfortunately doesn't do much between them. So that means Iamaki has truly lost the position, and the 9 is up onto the podium. He wants it back. He's already looking and can't quite get through. He had a car off there. I think that was Jay Voss.
Jay Voss had a problem with Doug Cloud, I think.
Not the first time today that Cloud's been involved in a few things here and there. Yeah, look at the decisive moves, and Iamaki is the one this time that gets held up just behind Natoon Cameron. So, yeah, look at the distance between the 9 and the 4. But as they went by, that was actually the white flag. Laust Olsen getting ready to finish this one up. And for a while, it was down to about a second between Leskala and Rolla for the lead in the GTOs, but it has gone back up to 1.6 now.
Yeah, and Laust Olsen, I mean, pole to win. If he can do this, if he can finish this lap cleanly, you can see how tenderly he's driving that thing. He had about 5 seconds back to Fabian Jungbluth at the start of this lap. He's just giving up all that time to make sure he doesn't get wrecked out here, down to 4 seconds back down to Jungbluth. But a fantastic drive for Olsen. He's cut the traffic like nobody else has today, and it's definitely shown.
And I would not put this down to luck of who showed up at all, because I look at names like Iamaki couldn't run him down, Trangarade couldn't run him down, drivers who are out there running normal races, and Olsen just scampered away. As Laust rounds Europe car, it's just New Holland to go. Franco Scurry in front of him, no concern to the Scandinavian. Laust Olsen to the line, takes the victory here today in round 5 for the Kamel GT series.
Fantastic drive from Laust Olsen. And Jukka Leskala coming through the last couple sectors of the course. Ville Rolla tried to get back to his rear bumper, couldn't quite do it. They've got Daniel Stisman who's going to try and make the pass here. Oh, so close. And okay, Sisman is able to get by. Jukka Leskala is going to hang on to that position. He's only got 3 corners to go, Joe.
That's Porter, who's not in a battle for position with Stimman. So hopefully that doesn't give him a sense of urgency to try and interrupt things. But yeah, I'm so surprised we didn't get more of a reaction out of Laust Olsen. Seemed very cool, calm, and collected, much like Jukka Leskala usually is, who also takes the win here in Spain at Barcelona, just ahead of Ville Rolla. Jungbluth, we got to give some credit. It may not have been a win, but a valuable second place for the number 5, and Sintez Galindo fighting hard with the current series champion points leader to take a podium as well.
How about Devin Donaghy coming home in 3rd in the GTOs? He may have been 25 seconds back, but he beat the likes of Escaleta Niemi, Martiali, Franco Scurry, Hideki Koivisto, Jamie Hamill-Smith. That's a great finish for him.
This is a bit topsy-turvy in terms of the typical drivers with pace that we expect. So yeah, I think a lot of drivers should be celebrating this one, even if they didn't win. But we're going to come back for those celebrations in a moment. We'll show you the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Stick around.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Barcelona round 5 as we watch our winner in the GTOs celebrate today's win. Was also won by Laust Olsen. This has certainly been a monumental one, and I think a race that he should cherish as one of his best performances. Fabian Jungbluth tried to follow him home. It was about 4 seconds behind. Respectable, I will say, from the number 5, and still a very well-earned second place. Aitor Sintez Galindo fighting hard with our current points leader to wind up in third. Ardo Iamaki mysteriously lacking pace today and only could get 4th. Ove Trangrade with a top 5 was followed by Martin Krejcik. Didn't really get to mention it much, but he was picking them off bit by bit from 10th to 6th as Doug Cloud was involved in a lot of action and wound up 7th. Robert Plumley was P8. Cam Porter up from 15th to 9th himself, and Marty Novak rounding out your top 10. After that, Marc Jean Girard was the last driver on the lead lap in 11th. Christian Arribas was 12th, and Gianluca Gabbiani in 13th. Mike Reuter had an eventful day, but had to settle for 14th with Daniel Stimmen in 15th. Ben Lafter, Antti Lepisto, and David Moncayo were DNFs in the GTPs.
Junko Leskala went pole to the victory again, but that was not the whole story because Villi Rollo was giving him some serious pressure towards the beginning of that race. A side-by-side lap for those two drivers up at the front of the field, but Villi gets punted off a little bit by a GTP, falls in behind, and has to tuck in behind Yuko to the tune of about a second and a half. David Donaghy, fairly boring race for him, but that means that everyone else had an interesting one. Devin coming home in third position ahead of Escalantiniemi, who had issues. Marty Ollie, who also had issues. Franco Scurry had issues. Hideki Koivisto had issues. Everyone had issues today. 7th place for Hideki Koivisto. 8th place for Jamie Hamill-Smith. Mark Ole going to finish in 9th. Mika Tupola in 10th position. And we got Nathan Cameron going to come home in the 11th spot with Oren Laskin in 12th. Jesus Amundare is going to finish in 13th, and Harry Vera last car on the lead lap for the GTOs in 14th position. The rest are DNFs: Ian Haycock, Javier Del Olmo, Miguel Perez, Edessa, Jay Voss, and Andre Schumacher.
So many issues out there. We're going to have to get a Kamel GT therapist for the drivers. But the man who probably doesn't need anything as happy as can be is Laust Olsen taking the victory here today. Laust, what a performance. I have to say this might be the best race we've ever seen from you from pole to victory. Does it feel like your best ever?
Pretty close at least, but probably, yeah, it's one of the best up in the top 3, I think. So yeah, this has been a day of mixed emotions. First on the low side, we had the memorial race for Colin Bentley in the Lotus 49 this afternoon, and now this my first ever broadcast win in the Kamel GT or in any series. So that's cannot find a better way to end the day.
Well, that answers one of the questions that I had, because I could have sworn that I had seen you win at least one other, but congratulations on that. I mean, where do you go from here? And also, how early did you know that you were going to be this strong this week?
I've had the one lap pace the entire week, been really fast in the qualifying, so I was pretty confident that if I didn't make any mistakes, I would be at least near the top in qualifying. Race-wise, this track is, for me, all about keeping the tires alive. As soon as I push just a little bit, the tires go away in very quickly. So that's been a problem for me earlier this week. So this race was all about keeping the tires alive, being careful not to put too much strain in them. And as soon as we got through the first round of traffic, and I got a bit of a gap to Fabian, I began to think about this being possible, which of course gets a lot of strange thoughts on your mind. So the rest of the race was also a lot about controlling those thoughts, not wandering away and losing focus. So yeah, that was quite a race.
Would you consider that one of your strengths, to be able to keep that focus? Because we watched you come across the line. We didn't even see you pump a fist or anything.
Not always good at keeping focus. I tend to, my mind tend to go everywhere during races, and normally I make a lot of small errors also during races, and sometimes also bigger ones. So what that in that regard, this was definitely one of my best races, keeping it all together.
Fantastic stuff. Is there anybody you'd like to thank for this inaugural victory here on the broadcast?
First of all, thanks to you guys. You always make a great broadcast, and also for your effort during the Lotus 49 race today. And then a great thanks to all the communities in the classic racing cars here. A lot of great people, a lot of great racings. So, yeah.
That was Laust Olsen, our victor here today in the prototypes, which is going to take us to third place down in the GTOs. Adam has caught up with Devin Donaghy.
Devin, I think this is your best performance on a broadcast race that we've seen in quite some time. I mean, coming home in third position. And talk to me about the race, because for the first dozen laps, you were duking it out with Esko Lataniemi and Javier Del Olmo. How'd you hold them off?
I don't really know how I held them off. I know it was pretty hairy on that first lap with Esko. I just got a lot of practice in this week and was feeling pretty confident with the car and the track. And I knew once you got a position, it was pretty hard to pass. So all I had to do was, stay consistent and clean, and I had a pretty good chance of, holding where I was at. That was kind of the strategy the whole race.
Absolutely, and your qualifying was great as well. Qualifying in the third position, you're able to hold that for the entire race. But it definitely wasn't without contest with Esko. Talk to me about that moment into the off of the back straightaway.
That was that was the one where I think he was trying to get me on the inside.
Correct.
And I was just watching him. I knew that line. I knew it was hard to hold the inside, and I saw him lock his brakes and just waited just a moment for him to scoot by, and I dipped under him and managed to keep the position there.
Absolutely. Then a couple laps later, both he and Del Olmo ended up getting spun around by some of the GTPs that wrecked out. What did you think when they cleared that cleared your rearview mirror for you? Were you just looking at trying to stay consistent? Were you trying to push still?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a relief, for me. It sucks they were taken out of the race because I like the battling, I like the racing with them. But definitely it took a lot of weight off my shoulders. I was able to, calm down a little bit and just focus on being consistent. Because I knew that's really what it would take, is for me to not make a mistake.
Absolutely. Well, next week we head over to Mid-Ohio, which is a very, very different course compared to Barcelona. What are your thoughts heading into that round?
I love Mid-Ohio. It's actually one of my favorite tracks. I don't know if I've done it in the GTO yet, but unfortunately I will miss that because I will be working for a race crew in Daytona for the Roar before the 24 and the 24 hour.
Well, I think that's a fantastic reason to miss a race.
So yeah, not the worst reason to miss a race here, but kind of bummed because I do like Mid-Ohio.
Well, I hope you have a great time at the Roar. And is there anyone you want to thank for your third place finish today?
Esco for the not Esco, Yuko for the setup that I used and tweaked. Jamie for the livery that I'm running this season. And then just, you guys for always putting on a good broadcast.
Well, thanks for coming to talk to us, Devin, and we look forward to seeing you when you jump on next, and have good luck at the Roar.
Thank you.
That was Devin Donahue, third place finish in the GTOs, and next up we have Aitor Sentes Galindo, who finished third place in the GTPs.
Absolutely, and he had to work hard for it. As Aitor, it's not often, I imagine, that you not only get to fight wheel to wheel, even on pace, but looking like you had better pace than Ardo Iamaki. This has got to be a proud day.
Well, it was a quite eventful day. I would say, yeah. First of all, huge congratulations to Laos. He really deserved this win. I've been watching him for 2 years, and I've been waiting for him to his maiden win, and to here in Barcelona is like extra happy for him. And as for me, I had to fight tooth and nail with everybody, with Arto, with Antti, to which I really apologize for that contact I had with him. And yeah, I'm sort of happy with this P3. It's a podium finish in Barcelona, my home track, but still, I think I should have been more, because, well, yesterday I had a similar race and had similar pace with Laos, but Laos today has been winner, and it's like, well, I could have been more.
It's always a coulda, woulda, shoulda when it's not P1, but we head off to Mid-Ohio next time out. It's going to be another very technical track, although a lot more narrow and with a lot less paved runoff. Do you think you can kind of carry this momentum to that place when we head off there?
Oof. Mid-Ohio. Okay, this will be a really tough track, really technical, as you said, very, very narrow and everything. I think I'll try to maintain the pace I had today, but still, I think my first priority should be to not be as aggressive with the Audis today, because I also think that today many Audis are unhappy with me, and that's not what I want, of course. But my priority will be, first of all, keep the pace, try to score another good finish in Mid-Ohio, try to survive, because I think many of us will try to survive as well, and also think this week and say, okay, let's not dive bomb into any more outs, okay? So yeah.
I like that theory. And, we were just talking before the race about how we felt like survival is such an important skill in this series. Is there anybody, though, that you want to give a shout out to before you take off?
Absolutely. You guys as well for the broadcast, Laos himself, my family watching, mom and dad, and my teammate Ferran, who has made this magnificent setup. Without him, I wouldn't have this pace, honestly. So yeah, thanks to all of you guys, and see you in Mid-Ohio.
That was Aitor Sentes Galindo, third place in the prototypes this afternoon, as we now close up with a big thank you ourselves to the Kamel GT community for bringing us on for another season of coverage. But we also want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast, listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more great work. And thanks to the team today, Adam, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed here. And also, check out our merchandise store. It's gsrc.storeenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. And next race, as we mentioned, Mid-Ohio will be Saturday, January 22nd at noon Eastern to mark the halfway point of the season. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.